Previously on Wandering Wagners.
As promised, there's the Wraith, here's the bikini, there's the sunshine. Time to test out these new products that we got from Wraith.
And the people have spoken. And it was overwhelmingly, hell no! People that have these international chassis motorhomes, specifically Nexus, have asked me, have you come up with any ideas of where to put an antenna? This is both from hams and CBers alike, because you don't have your traditional steel bars for your mirror frames like you would use on a normal truck. And I really didn't have any ideas at the time. However, I just got this. I think this might be the ticket. Now you can see that this cab is an MV and this is made for an international LT. However, I think it's gonna work. Here you can see an example of what it looks like. There's these bolts in here for your hinges. When I open the hood, you'll see better. But that's what it uses, and I'm really hopeful that those bolts are gonna be the same. There's really not much difference between an LT and an MV when it comes to the hinges. You got the hood open. I'm on the driver's side, by the way. I'm gonna take out these two bolts, and once they're out, don't open the door. You have it, it's installed. They give you all this hardware and stuff, and it's actually it's pretty sturdy. I don't have this tightened up because you can adjust this like this. Now, I'm not gonna use this connector. I'm probably gonna remove this, just use a step bit and drill that out for like an NMO mount or maybe a Type N. I'm not sure yet. But I mean, for 50 bucks, it's got everything you need. And yeah, this is the one bolt. In case you're asking, this bolt goes here. Like I said, I just don't have it tightened up yet. But it's pretty decent. So it is shut and latched. There it is. That's not bad. it's really not. It's a pretty good option. It's a pretty good fix. It's solid. 50 bucks, come on, you're not gonna go wrong. Yeah, you guys remember the good old Jensen. And if you know anything about me, you know that I think Jensen is about as good as Furrion. And this is kind of what I think of either brand. There we go, gonna take care of that. To replace this trash, I went to Walmart and I got this. This was $28, and there's no CD player. It's just AM, FM, Bluetooth. And I figure for $28, let's just call it $30, that it can't be any worse than that. It can only be better than Jensen. So let's find out. Well, 2 seconds to disconnect everything from this, and this will go, yep, right there. Here's everything you get in the box, which is pretty much this. This is ridiculous. I mean, look at this. Already, the $28 quality feels far superior to Jensen. The wiring harness, instruction manual, and then just the rest goes in the trash. Looking at the instructions here, it says, let's see, carefully remove the existing head unit. Check, done. Connect the wiring harness, consult a qualified technician. I have to call some help for that. Mount the head unit using the mounting sleeve, which means that sleeve comes off of there. Okay, good enough. Connect wiring harness and antenna. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Slide radio in and mount it. That's it, 6 steps. Easy peasy. We're gonna have to make sure that we carefully remove this old trash. We're making progress. I'm cutting out all the old wiring harness. I wonder why RV manufacturers do things the way they do, but at this point, I guess you shouldn't be surprised. I cleaned up the wiring just a little bit. I used my heat shrink butt connectors on here. It's still one of the little factory ones, but whatever. It looks better. Now I can connect the head unit to that put it in place, turn it on. I went ahead and replaced the speakers too because these were just Jensen garbage. And I can't begin to say how much better it is. Now, something that we really hate about the Jensen was the Bluetooth. We would fight and fight and fight to get it to connect, and then once you disconnect and come back and try to reconnect, you're fighting all over again. It was such a pain. This one, just gonna hit source. Oh, look, already connected to Mike's iPhone. How simple is that? Let's try it out.
They call the moon a rolling solo down the line. Peterbilt purring like a hound on borrowed time.
For my next project, I picked this up. This is a Motorola XPR 4580. If anybody knows anything about these run in the 800 and 900 megahertz band, and I have successfully hex edited the software to allow it to work in the ham radio 900 megahertz band. And I'm going to be installing this right here. It's practically made for that, right? Actually, it's made for a CB, but that's going to be going there. As you've seen in the previous clips, I have an antenna mount there now, so that's where the antenna is going to go. So I'm going to need to probably pull all this down and run antenna coax down and out and over to there. And then what I think I'm going to do, because right underneath my seat, like right here, right under there are the chassis batteries. Although I want to run this off the house batteries, which, as you know, are back there, right there in the closet. But right under the floor under there, I have some bus bars because that's where the factory house batteries were installed. So everything just kind of got connected to bus bars and ran up there. Anyways, so what I'm going to do, I need to run power from here down and over to those bus bars. What I think I'm going to do is this. We used to have a 12-volt fridge, but we no longer have a 12-volt fridge. Here's the wiring that I had ran previously for said 12-volt fridge. And don't worry, I pulled the fuse and the power. It's all disconnected. This was a real pain to get installed in there. And it kind of goes in the compartment here where the furnace is. And then it kind of goes right here, and then under, and then over to here where the bus bars are. So I'm going to pull all that wiring back. I'm going to recycle it, reuse it. Like I said, run it here, up, over to the radio. You may be asking yourselves, why in the world would I want to be on 900 megahertz? Anybody who knows ham radio knows that 900 megahertz is pretty much dead. There's nobody there, there's nothing there, which is why I love it. Because Dave is a ham, I've got other friends that are hams, and we can just use 900 megahertz all we want and never interfere with anybody. That's the thing, like 2 meters is so overcrowded. 70 centimeters, yeah, it's pretty crowded too. But 33 centimeters, 900 megahertz, there's nobody there. And you can get these for like $100. All that wire pulled from there, all the way over here, and this is it. It's all 10 gauge. It's way heavier than what I need, but it's a really good wire. And it's already got a fuse spot right here. So I put the fuse right here. There's a fuse. So all I gotta do is now run this over, up, and over, and cut off the excess. Got the wire pulled up through the hole in the floor there, factory hole. What a pain to get all this apart. So I'd like take this panel off to get access to underneath this panel, and then I gotta feed the wire up through here, so I had to take the grab handle off, and then I take the screws out for this so I can get up above there. It's a process. You have it. Power has been run. That whole side's put back together. What a chore. It's not hard, it's just so many pieces that have to be removed. But that's back together. Now, I'm still waiting for my antenna cable to come in the mail, and then that will go that way down. So it's a whole nother project when it finally gets here. Well, the antenna I ordered showed up. This is a diamond antenna. It's a, what is it? NR920. Now this uses the N connector I was talking about. That's what an N connector looks like. This is a 900 megahertz antenna. And then I ordered this coax along with it. Here's a better example of what that end connector looks like. People that are familiar with CB radios probably sort of recognize this connector until you look at it this way. The reason why I went with this style is because 900 megahertz is lossy. Lossy is the way to put it, I suppose. When you get higher in megahertz, the amount of power loss gets crazy. So I went with the end connectors, and this coax is a little bit different as well. This coax is 5D-QEFV. Yeah, you're thinking, what? What is that? Well, let's put it this way. This is RG58. This is what you would use for like a CB radio installation, or even 2 meters in the VHF band. And you can see side by side, look at the difference. It is crazy. If I used this coax, which it would work, but if I used it over a 12-foot, 13-foot run, you're gonna lose about 60% of your power. So that's why I got this. It's thicker, it's heavier. It's kind of be a little bit harder to run this coax, but in the end, it's gonna be much better. Looking at this connector, so like all this comes off here, and then, let's put it back on. I'm gonna need a 5/8 inch hole to mount this. Now, when you look at the antenna mount, it's set up for a CB antenna. This is most likely gonna be a 3/8. I just happen to have in my stash a CB antenna. So let's stick this on there and see how it looks. And that's why this mount right here kind of rotates a little bit so you can angle your antenna. I know there's a lot of people that have asked me in the past about antenna solutions because they want to use like a CB radio. And you can see, let's do this. With it angled out like that, it misses that front cap. Does it look ridiculous? Sure, it does. But it is a solution if you want to put a radio in your motorhome. This is the stud from the CB antenna mount. This is the size that I need to drill it out to. You can see it's a little bit bigger. I prefer to use a step bit. It just makes really, really clean, precise holes. So that's what I'm going to use to drill that out. Look at that. That's the end result from using a step bit. Perfect. Now, let's see here. I'm doing this one-handed. I know it's supposed to go through the other way, but I just want to show you how it fits. Look at that. I'm trying. Perfect. Perfect. I took these panels out from underneath the steering column. And I don't know if you can see up in here, right there. See that light? Right there. There's a plug in there. This plug, it was like that. I pushed it with a screwdriver and I heard it hit the ground. I think that'll be perfect. That's gonna be a perfect way to get the antenna cable out. See where that light is? So here's under the hood. Right there, that's that hole. So I'm just gonna make a hole in this plug and I'll bring the antenna cable out through here. It's gonna come up to here. It's gonna be perfect. Pretty much got everything put back together, all the trim pieces, and it's like I had just enough. This was 12 or 13 feet of coax, just enough here. And then I decided to put some mini bus bars here in case I want to add a second radio later, because this wire coming in is 10 gauge. That's plenty for 2 radios, or maybe something else, who knows. I'm just gonna tape these up, that way they don't accidentally contact each other, and it is fused down the line. Got the radio installed, and we got this handheld on simplex calling frequency, about half volume, just so we can test this thing out. Got it installed here. Come on. power. Let's go to low power. I don't need that. Now I've already ID'd before I started recording, so let's try this out. Radio check, radio check. Sounds like it's working. Wonderful. Now that antenna out there is, it says it does not need a ground plane. And it says it's already pre-tuned for 900 megahertz. Now I believe in trust but verify, but I don't have an antenna analyzer or an SWR meter for 900 megahertz. So until I have one, I'm just gonna hope that that's actually tuned and has a good SWR or a good match. Anyway, I'm glad that's done. This is my Yaesu dual band 2 meters 440, and I'm thinking I could probably just mount this like right under this radio like this, something like that, and then put another antenna mount like I have over here, but put one over there. What do you guys think?
Welcome to the WHHF repeater 900 megahertz. PL is 131.8. The time is 10 p.m.
Next time on Wandering Wagners.
What do you think, Allie? She didn't know about this.